We're back, people, and today we're going to film on David Long, Miami Dolphins linebacker, and I feel like he's shown a lot of improvement week to week. He was definitely struggling early on. He's definitely been one of the more productive linebacker, definitely the most productive off-ball linebacker for this Dolphins offense or Dolphins defense. They've been stopping the run much better here, especially against the lower offenses. They can still improve, and he's going to be a big part of this game next week versus the Eagles, who run the ball very effectively. But yeah, I do like the consistency he's shown. He's had a lot of plays where he shoots into the backfield and makes some plays, but he was very consistent versus the Panthers, filling the right hole, just doing his job in a lot of situations, and then also making some impact plays. He was just all over the field. They really do need some more help at the other off-ball linebacker positions, but Long definitely making an impact. You can see him recognize this toss here, read these guards, the flow of this play. He sees this hole open up, so he just shoots down through this, shows off some burst. Guy gets around to the edge, but he trips him up, holds him for no gain. That's a really nice, trigger there from David Long. That's a big strength to his game. Just want to see him getting better and better in this defense as it goes on and make more of an impact in coverage as well, because I still feel like he's being inconsistent there. But the consistency is definitely improving on a play-to-play basis versus the run. Most of these plays will just be versus the run, like pretty much all of them, except, maybe -1. But yeah, we see him versus a toss, some outside zone type of stuff. Then working against some inside zone, just reading some blocks here. Eagles' offensive line's so good, and they're running him so good that D-line is going to be having a handful, so the linebackers really got to be able to fill versus the run. Here, just reading this, seeing this combo coming down, so he's just trying to fill into this gap right here, staying, square, just reading the blocks in front of him, seeing the mesh point, then get down, hill, make this tackle for pretty much no gain. You don't want to, fill down too quickly. I feel like in the past he might try to shoot down around, and that would take him out of position, especially if this guy came off of it and, got a hand on him. But once he reads that this guy's coming down the down block, he just wants to fit into this run right away, and that's just a very smart heads-up football play from David Long. Just doing these things more on a consistent level has been very helpful to the Dolphins' run defense overall. Some more work versus some inside zone type of stuff, which is nice to see, but this time he gets to, get physical at the point of attack. We've seen him come down, beat some, get down and get there before blocks even get to him, but now we get to see him take on a block at the point of attack, which I think is important. He's not the biggest linebacker. They combo right here, and he's this gap, he's got this A gap. He comes down to take it on at the point of attack. This guard comes off, and he gets low. Good base, attack him, extend at the point of attack. Don't get pushed back, and then, you extend here to help hit this running back here, hold it to a 2-yard gain. You got to be able to, stack, shed, get physical versus these runs. Just reading the run concept as well. He understands, he sees the two combos happening. He wants to just get down quickly as possible, but not try to shoot in. If he shoots in, could easily get hit in the low hip, take himself out of the play, and then you create a lane that could possibly go through here. But you want to take him on at the point of attack, so now you're just all in your gap responsibility, but you can all shed and get to the other gap, your secondary gap, and David Long does a nice job with Wilkins and Sealer here. Long doesn't get the tackle here, but I feel like he does a pretty good job of just forcing this guy to spill to the outside, you being like a spill defender, and then have your corners or whoever the force guy be there. And he's doing a good job just coming down, responsible for, this area right here. Get down, fill this gap. And once he sees this running back is about to clear this gap and get to the outside, they're bringing down the receiver to block the safety. He's ready to get that. He makes a good lateral cut here to stay in phase with the running back. The O-lineman does hit him and knock him off balance a little bit, but it does at least, not allow him to just hit up through this hole, have to bounce this to the outside to where some corner help is, and then he gets over there and, helps finish the tackle at least. But that's a pretty solid play versus the run. These are plays I feel like he sort of took himself out of earlier in the season, especially, not every single play, but there was definitely an inconsistency. And you can tell versus the Panthers, he's definitely been working on just doing his job on a lot of these plays. Love his physicality here at the point of attack as well. He's this A-gap defender, and he just wants to shoot down, get control of that gap right away, and then he even comes off of it. Good job by Baker filling as well. They gave up 4 yards, but that's not the worst-case scenario. You're giving up more than it's not the greatest, but just dropping his shoulder, get into, fill this gap, get his primary gap, and then once he gets control of his primary gap here, versatile lineman who, it's not tough. It's pretty tough to take these guys on at the point of attack. He is able to create a little bit of separation there with using his shoulder and then extend the arm. He sees Herbert's going to get into his secondary gap, throws him off there, and then is able to come off and get involved in that tackle. That's pretty impressive considering how much space there is here pre-snap. There's so much space. And it's not Wilkins or Sealer in the game. He gets double teamed here. Raekwon, there's a bunch of space to work with over here, and Long is able to help constrict that space overall with the rest of the unit. Long's also been a pretty solid blitzer this year. He's gotten some sacks, he's gotten involved, get some pressures, some hits. This is just, he comes in unblocked, so it's nothing too crazy, but it's nice to see him pretty good disguised pre-snap, lining up over the receiver and then start to cheat in and then time the snap, and then just comes in unblocked, forces Bryce to throw the ball away quickly, and then they get that incompletion down in the end zone. Definitely a part of his game that I think helps. Baker's probably at his best blitzing. The linebackers can definitely get involved with their blitzing part of the game. It's definitely a strength of this Dolphins defense. This is a pretty good instinctive play because he's responsible for a gap over here, and this is just getting active. Like, look out, first of all, how close Baker is, but Wilkins responsible right here, getting control of this primary area. Long responsible up here to get in that A gap, and once he just sees the mesh point here, he sees the flow of this play, he feels this space opening up, and he's ready to just scrape over the top. A lot of times he's ready to see if he fits in here. He sees all this gets cluttered up, so he's anticipating this cut back into this lane, so he works over the top and then helps limit this right away. Like, he's the one who kind of meets him here. Like, Baker and Chubb get an arm on him, but he's kind of the one that squares him up and stops his momentum. That's a very impressive play, considering what he was responsible for over here pre-snap, to then get over the top. A lot of times when guys clear your gap responsibility, you can still be involved in these fits, even if it's not exactly to where your run responsibility is to get these tackles, and that's a good play. Holding him, they get 4 yards on a 2nd and 5, but stopping him from getting that first down, especially when you were not supposed to even be involved for where he ended up running. Here you can see David Long in coverage, and he's just sort of carrying the number 3. Number 3 goes across, nothing else to really threaten him, so he just matches it to this side of the field. Dolphins running some cover 6, running quarters to the bottom, half to the top, and he's just sort of that hook, number 3. You want to sort of wall him, get hands on, sort of disrupt the route timing, but there's nothing else to really threaten him, so he just sort of carries this across. See, Baker comes down to the running back. So now he's just matching, and even though there's some separation here, just for what his responsibility was, this is still pretty decent coverage. And Young's rolling out to the left. This isn't an easy throw to make if he tries to throw it, and then he ends up just dumping it off down. So pretty good job, recognition skills and athleticism to at least get over there. I think the defenders have to be a little more consistent with this. When people do end up coming into your zone and they're playing zone match, you got to start carrying these things, not giving up so much space around the field. A lot of these coverages, you're just going to be that hook, but you're trying to find the fast 3. First person to become fast 3. He gets a little probably too physical there at the point of attack, but he's dropping there. He's going to 3 by one side. They're in a bunch, and you're just trying to find that first 3 to come in, and you're walling him off, carrying him down like this, just matching. Make sure you take that away. That's receiver. This is good stuff. Takes away an inside read mesh point. The Dolphins defense in obvious passing situations, I feel did a much better job, especially as the game went on, because they gave that 14 early. But they did a better job of carrying things, passing things off, just depending on the coverages. But yeah, it was definitely an improvement, and you got to be much more on your A game versus the Eagles. Let's play the run breakdown. Panthers just running the ball late in the game. Long just comes up and fills. I being a little more patient here. We know he could be a very aggressive, get downhill, trigger type of linebacker, but sometimes he can, get a little too over aggressive. And I feel this was a situation earlier where he would have just shot down right away. And if you shoot down right away here, because you're responsible for here, because they're double teaming hand here, so he's kind of responsible for both of these gaps. This is his primary gap. But if he shoots down right away, this running back still has the ball, could just press up into this and then bounce it back here, and there would be a wide open space. So Long has to work, doing a better job just staying patient. He squares up this running back, sees that he's now committing this way, and then he fills up and then gets involved with Deshaun Hand at the point of attack. Hand's actually been pretty solid. I think he's been better than Raekwon Davis personally, after Wilkins and Sealer for this defense, which doesn't surprise me because I'm not a huge Raekwon Davis fan. I just don't know if he fits into this system. He's definitely a Brian Flores guy, but Long playing pretty well. Like to see it. Like to see that improvement. I was a big fan of him coming over in free agency. You can tell there was definitely some growing pains for this defense, but he's been making more and more splash plays, but then also more and more just consistent plays, which is very important, I think, for this defense, because those splash plays definitely help, but being consistent at that second level is a huge help, because these guys up front are trying to make some big plays, and you only have 2 guys at that second level, so if one guy tries to play some hero ball and just gets out of spot position, those where those big runs come, and you got to be at a consistent level, especially when they start playing these top teams. It could be ugly for this defense. I think the offense might have to carry them But we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to the Eagles game. Let me know what you guys want to see next. If you guys want to be, make sure to comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.